Hey everyone, the moment we've been waiting for is finally here. After 2 intense years, Horizon Forbidden West has made its triumphant arrival on PC. Now, I played this game at launch, but with heavy hitters from 2022, like Elden Ring and the unforgettable Stray, not to mention a flood of stellar PC remasters, or maybe ports I should say, would be a better word, Aloy's journey, for me, was left unfinished. Now, what a better time to reignite the adventure on PC and confidently stride back into the Forbidden West for a second, perhaps more immersive experience. That's what we're here to find out. Firstly, it's truly unfortunate that we no longer have the amazing, phenomenal, talented Reddick with us. And his impactful portrayal of Silence is not only deeply felt, but is one of the most phenomenal things for me about the whole Horizon package. He is a character that you can't help but love, yet his arguments often have a persuasive pull that I struggle to resist. His performance makes me constantly feel that if Aloy was the yin, Silence is the yang. I really did enjoy replaying this game on PC. I did switch a bit from my keyboard setup to controller from time to time. I also did spend some time playing on both my ROG Ally and Legion Go handheld devices as well, and a bit on the Steam Deck too. And it was a blast. A few frustrating factors at times, but nothing that could truly hinder my experience so much that I was feeling let down and put out of my way. Except for those battery segments. Oh my god. If you've played this game, you know what I mean. The battery segments are puzzles where there'll be a locked door, so you have to get a battery from another location and obviously bring it to the door. And then things happen like, there's no path to get across the floor, the battery is losing charge, and all kind of stops pull out. I found these segments of the game to be so frustrating. And some of them really made me question how much I really wanted to put this video out. But I'm going on a tangent. Back to the controls, I gotta say, I can't exactly put my finger on it, but just like I felt with the first game, this one feels somewhat smoother when I played on a mouse and keyboard. Sure, the aiming is a factor and, mouse versus controller is a whole nother debate, but even just getting around the world feels better. I don't know, jumping's more satisfying, running feels sleeker, I don't know. Usually I don't have a huge preference over which input devices I use, except with Aloy. I feel like even though I know the game is technically designed for a controller, I feel like it was made for a keyboard. And the funny thing is, with all the releases that did come out in 2022 that did stop me from playing this game, I had a very similar experience with the first game where I did purchase it on PlayStation and played it, but I ended up repurchasing it on PC when it was ported over. And I just want to say, Nixies did a fantastic job with this port as well. But I did repurchase the first game and played through it start to finish with no issues. And that's sort of where the question was looming in the back of my head, whether the controls were that big of an issue for me. And it turned out they were. And I don't want to use the word issue because I don't think the word issue is correct, but it just felt better for me on PC. Now, this isn't going to be a huge change from playing Forbidden West on console, but the game offers a variety of beautiful environments, particularly when playing in 4K. From the beaches to redwood forests, each location showcases the game's excellent graphics. Clear waters reflect sunlight and ancient ruins illustrate a forgotten time. Every detail is highlighted, from blooming flowers to patterns on the stone. Like I said, not different from the console, but I think it's taken up to 12 in the PC version of the game. Exploring these environments is much more than just visually impressive. It's an opportunity to immerse oneself in the stunning world that Guerrilla Games has created. And I find that while it doesn't boast as big as an open world as many other open world titles out there, Horizon Forbidden West and even Zero Dawn have more of a clearly defined open world, and everything is just more detailed down to the level. And it's not often I say this when it comes to sequel games, but there was enough here to keep me interested and entertained. I feel like everything is presented on a much higher spectacle than it was in Zero Dawn, minus one or two things. The warfare feels better, with more impressive weapons in your arsenal. I was partial to the spike throwers and the good old sharpshooter bows. There wasn't life-changing mechanical upgrades by any means, but it was enough to keep me going. I do feel like the diving mechanic, however, really did change my life, at least for 5 minutes. My only critique here is that I wish diving came into the fold much sooner. And while the game exhibits the usual trope of, here is a place you can't explore yet, so let me mark it on your map so you can come back later, I feel like the diving wasn't used in a generally good way, except for a few missions where diving was the core premise. Something that I'm really holding out for to be improved in the inevitable threequel, Horizon Eternal Frontier, or whatever name Guerrilla Games decides to go with. Now, without giving you a whole recap, I really enjoyed the story of Zero Dawn. I was constantly feeling like this is a world that truly is strange to me, and I want to know what's happening next, and I was usually on the edge of my seat in that game. The narrative of Forbidden West continues from where the first game left off, and while for the most part I did feel entertained, and there were moments of excitement and an audible gasp or two, it often feels more like a backdrop than a main event. The story seems to serve more as a vehicle to explore the stunning world and engage in thrilling combat, rather than standing out as a strong, independent element on its own. Which is okay, but I just hope for a bit more in the continuation of the world and the lore. And I know while they technically do continue the lore of the world, maybe I just didn't agree with the direction they went in. Or maybe it just wasn't as interesting to me. But I definitely was not engrossed in it as much as I was when it came to Zero Dawn. Another area where I feel like Forbidden West could have done a lot more is how it utilizes the main characters from the first game. They seem to be introduced in a somewhat haphazard way, popping in and out of the narrative, and many of them eventually just fade into the background as the game progresses. This feels a bit disappointing, especially when you consider how much potential some of these characters hold for further development. I personally don't think their story is done, and if their story is done, why introduce them at all? Their underutilization also feels like a huge missed opportunity. I for one wanted to see a lot more of Erend and how his story unfolds. I also wanted to explore more on how these characters that we met in Zero Dawn had approached venturing into the Forbidden West and how that interjected with their unique cultures. But alas, I don't want to give you a full review of the game, I just had some thoughts and wanted a sounding board. I loved the game, the music was phenomenal, the motion capture was fantastic, and I can't wait to see where Guerrilla Games takes it from here. As we eagerly await the next chapter in this incredible journey, let's continue to celebrate the magic of gaming and the boundless creativity that fuels it. Until next time, keep exploring, keep gaming, and keep sharing your thoughts and passions with fellow adventurers like yourself. Happy gaming.